the Commonwealth. An easily recognizable sight for any Fallout fan. Filled with ghouls, super mutants, jet-addicted raiders, the most terrifying deathclaws this series has ever seen, and even cats. I've been a massive fan of the Fallout series, but unlike my time with Fallout 3, I was never able to spend those Cheeto and Mountain Dew fueled all-nighters like I was with Fallout 3. But that changes today, with news of a Fallout live action, Starfield set to release later this year, and some inspiration. I decided to dust off my RPG skills and return to Fallout 4 to complete all 50 base game achievements. However, during this playthrough, we're also going to be using a weapon randomizer that randomizes my weapon after every kill. Because this is fun. The story begins in the year 2077, which for some reason looks like the 1950s. I've never understood this about Fallout. We play as Nora, who lives with her husband, son Sean, and their robot butler and nanny Codsworth, who not only takes care of the house, but the baby as well. Seriously, when is somebody going to invent Codsworth? I would like to get a full night's sleep for once. I did choose to play the female character because their armor just obviously looks better. Caught in 4K. A Vault Tech rep appears at our door to offer us a spot in the vault as a thank you for our military service. Vaults are just a doomsday shelter, but way cooler than the one your crazy uncle built in his backyard. After securing our spot in the vault, the news alerts us that nukes have been launched, and we must now run to safety in the vault, which is also conveniently located next to our house. We get to the vault entrance just in time to see a nuke hit the Commonwealth. My game audio didn't record for some of this playthrough, so I made my own sound effects that you'll hear throughout part of this video. Once inside, we are told to get in these pods for decontamination. Psych a lot! Now in cryosleep, we are suddenly woken to see mysterious strangers standing outside the pod. They open the pod Sean is in, and they attempt to take him. Nora's husband refuses to give up Sean, so they paint his pod with his brains.
It's art.
The cryopod then reactivates and we enter back into cryo. Sometime after, we are awoken from cryo again, but this time we are able to leave our pod, only to find the entire vault has fallen to chaos. Desperate to find Sean, we make our way out of the vault while battling mutated creatures. On our way out, we find a Red Raiders holotape, and after inserting it into a terminal, we can play the Wish.com version of Mario, which also unlocks our first achievement in the game for playing a holotape. We also pick up a Pip-Boy that was conveniently placed right where we needed it. Upon exiting the vault, we are greeted with the now destroyed Commonwealth and unlock our first achievement for touching grass. We make our way back to our home to find Codsworth is still alive, and he believes we've just been on a very long vacation. We help Codsworth search for clues as to who took Sean in the town, but after coming up with nothing, he sends us to the town of Concord to find clues about Sean. On our way to Concord, we find our first companion, Dogmeat, who's a heckin' good boy, and decide to bring him along because who doesn't need man's best friend in this post-apocalyptic world. Arriving at Concord, we find a group under attack by raiders. Having been in this new world for a matter of a few minutes, we immediately start stacking bodies and kill the raiders outside and inside the building. I guess that military service is coming in handy. Inside the building, we meet up with Preston Garvey, who's the leader of a group that he calls the Minutemen. No, that's not how long they last in bed. The Minutemen are pretty much a group of freedom fighters who try to help others in the Commonwealth. Behind Preston, we find our first collectible in Fallout, a bobblehead. There's 20 of these total in the game, and each one provides a bonus to a special stat or adds a buff. At this point, we are introduced to power armor in Fallout 4, which is different from previous Fallout games. First, we need a fusion core to power it. We find one in the basement of the museum building, but only after encountering some wonderful game design, with the terminal placed too close to the rubble and not being able to access the terminal unless you are perfectly lined up with it. I love Bethesda games. Thankfully, we have console commands to save us. After getting our fusion core, we make our way to the roof and power up the armor. In a normal playthrough, you pretty much demolish all the raiders with the minigun you pull from the vertibird after getting the power armor, but as soon as I took out one raider, the weapon randomizer kicked in and cycled my weapon, forcing me to use some of the worst weapons in the game. During the battle, a Deathclaw appears from underground. Deathclaws are basically giant mutated lizards, and in Fallout 4, they're absolutely terrifying. Thankfully, their weapon randomizer gave me something decent, so it only took me 30 minutes to kill this thing. With the raiders now dead, we accompany the Minutemen back to Sanctuary, where they establish a new settlement and unlock the achievement, When Freedom Calls. Preston then asks us for help and sends us to another settlement to assist the settlers there and convince them to join the Minutemen. The leader of the settlement then tasks us with taking care of some raiders, after which they'll join the Minutemen. This takes us over to the Corvega assembly plant, which is a raider stronghold, and it was at this point I nearly quit using the randomizer for this playthrough. Fallout 4 has way more melee weapons than it does guns, meaning the chances of the randomizer cycling to a melee weapon than a gun are very high. And being at the start of the game with very low health, basic armor, and almost every enemy using ranged weapons, you're pretty much bringing a knife to a gunfight while you're made of glass. This made making it inside the plant insanely difficult, and after dying way too many times to count, I finally managed to make it in when I accidentally discovered a sewer entrance. Bro, what? Pew, 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 pew. Oh, look, an achievement. Ooh. What the hell was that? Okay. This is my life now. My robot sheriff turned against me. Sheriff Eli, I'm sorry it had to be this way. Fudge. With the raiders inside now cleared out, the last thing to do here was head outside and clear the remaining raiders out. This wasn't necessary for the quest, but at the very top of the factory is the second collectible, the repair bobblehead. Returning to Timpani's Bluff, we report our success and unlock it as another settlement. We report back to Preston about the success, and Preston, having only met us minutes ago, makes us the general of the Minutemen. Preston is probably the type to propose on the first date. This also unlocks the achievement, the first step, and unlocks Preston as another companion. At this point, we head to Diamond City to continue searching for clues about Sean. On the way, our pit boy picks up a distress signal asking for assistance at the Cambridge police station. Being a good Samaritan, we head over to find a group under attack from ghouls. After clearing the ghouls out, we are introduced to Paladin Dance, who is a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. The best way to describe the Brotherhood of Steel is like a cross between genocidal maniacs and boomers who believe 5G is mind controlling them. They pretty much hate anything that isn't human and don't like advanced technology. Speaking with Dance, we agree to accompany him to the ArcJet systems to find a radio transmitter. Normally, companions are near useless and are just a pack mule to carry any extra weight or catch stray bullets, but Dance is him. Pew, 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 slice. Hold on, I gotta heal. Pew, 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 pew. Where did everybody go? Inside, we encounter synths, which are basically androids made by another faction in the game, the Institute. Clearing them out, we find the transmitter and nearly turn Dance into a barbecue, but Dance is him. Oh no, dude, I locked Dance in there. It was nice knowing you, buddy. Are you still alive? We return to the police station with Dance, where he then recruits us into the Brotherhood and unlocks the achievement, Semper Invicta. Now a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, we continue to Diamond City. We'll come back to the Brotherhood later. Arriving at Diamond City, we fend off some super mutants and encounter Piper Wright, a reporter who has been kicked out of the city. We go along with her lie to help her gain entrance. Now inside the city, we speak to Piper again and allow her to interview us about life in the vault. Doing so unlocks her as another companion. Inside Diamond City, we head to the Valentine Detective Agency to locate Nick Valentine, who can help us find Sean. Nick's assistant informs us that he's gone missing while investigating the case, meaning we now have to go locate him. On the way out, we quickly run the bases of this once baseball stadium, now post-apocalyptic city, for another achievement. Heading to Nick's last known location, we fight through tunnels full of triggermen and find Nick tied up in the overseer's office of an old vault. And next to him is another bobblehead. Freeing him, we now start making our way out of the vault. Before we can make our way out, we encounter the Triggerman's boss, who's also what the missing girl Nick was trying to locate. The Triggerman's boss doesn't seem like he wants to fight us, but the missing girl clearly wants all the smoke, so we give it to her. Whack. Whack. Damn! Ka-ching. Oh no, what am I supposed to do with this? Right about here? Boom. Easy. After making it out of the vault, we tell Nick we'll meet him back at Diamond City and unlock the achievement, Unlikely Valentine. On the way to the next quest, I unlock an achievement for reaching level 10, which for some reason didn't pop. Here's the proof for the non-believers. Before heading back, we stop at a place called the Combat Zone, which turns out to be a fighting ring that's run by raiders. Clearing out the raiders, we enter the fighting ring to find our next companion, Kate. She's actually not happy we freed her because now her supply of drugs is gone. On the way back to Diamond City, we stop by Trinity Tower to fight through hordes of super mutants and free our next companion, Strong, giving us the achievement, Never Go It Alone, for recruiting 5 companion. Linking back up with Nick in Diamond City, we unlock him as a companion, and Nick informs us the guy who took Sean is named Kellogg. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a kid named Rice Krispies. Nick helps us complete B&E on Kellogg's headquarters to search for clues. Dogmeat mysteriously appears outside to help us find Kellogg by tracking the scent of his cigar that apparently only the serial CEO smokes. Dogmeat then takes us on the longest walk of my life, where we continue to find more clues about Kellogg's whereabouts, all the while battling some of the fiercest creatures of the wasteland with nothing more than a 2x4 thanks to the randomizer. This isn't gonna go well.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
Nope. Hey, chill out, bro. It's a prank. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank. I kill one of these small things, I can get a new weapon. Bonk. Bonk. That didn't work out. Bonk. Why are you hostile? Why? Bonk. Bonk. You made me do this. Our walk takes us to Fort Hagen, where Kellogg is, and conveniently enough, he is located all the way in the basement. Kellogg is guarded by synths that we have to fight our way through, and it was at this point I was convinced the randomizer was actively working against me, when it gave me a literal weapon of mass destruction in close quarters. Boom. Put it right about there. This has got to be far enough. Third time's the charm, or whatever attempt this is. Oh. This is my 13th reason. It worked! Finally. Not this again. Yep. Finally arriving at Kellogg, we are then forced to kill him. I tried having this conversation multiple times to avoid this fight and get the information we needed about Sean, but this fight was seriously unavoidable. After killing Kellogg and completing the quest, we unlock the achievement, Reunions, and make our way out of the fort after snagging another bobblehead from the medical bay. Back outside, we then witness one of the coolest scenes in the game with the Brotherhood of Steel's arrival into the Commonwealth.
Citizens of the Commonwealth, this is the Brotherhood of Steel. We are here for your 5G.
We then make our way to a town called Good Neighbor in search of Dr. Amari, who can help us search through a piece of Kellogg's brain to find out the location of the institute where Sean is believed to be. Quite literally searching through Kellogg's memory, we learn about his tragic past with an abusive father and his wife and kid that were tortured and murdered. After learning all this, I really can't hate the guy. I would become a murderous savage as well if this happened to me. In his memories, we find that Sean had been with Kellogg for 10 years before finally being taken to the institute, whose only way in is teleportation, and earn the achievement, Dangerous Minds. At this point, we take a break from the main story to progress the Brotherhood of Steel storyline. Fallout has a total of 4 factions that you can side with, and to reach the endgame, you have to side with at least one. Each faction has their own achievements, and while it's possible to get all the achievements in a single playthrough, we have to play double agent with each one while ensuring we don't progress some factions too far or risk losing some achievements. Heading back to Paladin Dance, we then go to the flying blimp we saw flying overhead and meet Elder Maxon, leader of the Brotherhood of Steel, and get promoted to the rank of Knight. Elder Maxon gives us possibly the worst quest in this game, which is to go around the ship meeting some of the crew. After nearly dying of boredom, we then board the vertibird and head to Fort Strong to clear out the super mutants. This is where things with the randomizer got a bit tricky. The randomizer will rotate any weapon you have in your hand, and that includes the minigun mounted on the vertibird. I actually had to disable the randomizer until I could get off the vertibird. After clearing out the super mutants, we report back to Maxon, and this is as far as we can go with the Brotherhood of Steel for now. Next, we progress the Minutemen questline by helping them retake their old HQ, the castle, which was overrun by Mirelurks. This isn't normally difficult, but of course when the Mirelurk Queen shows up, the randomizer gives me the worst guns possible. Just a pea shooter in a dream. Oh no, it rotated. Shh, not again. At least these little ones give me an easy way to rotate my weapon to get something good. Pow. Pow. Okay, seriously, it was right in front of me. Pow. Seriously? I could not hit the broadside of a barn if I wanted to. Give me something good. Give me something good. Whack. Nope. Whack. Are you kidding me? Okay. Oh yeah, something good, finally. This isn't really working out. This has been way harder than it should be. Clearing out the Mirelurks and restoring the power, we complete the quest and unlock the achievement, Taking Independence. With the castle restored, we then wait in-game for 3 days to meet up with Ronnie Shaw, a former Minuteman. Minute Woman? And head into the castle tunnels to get a schematic that will help us defend the castle. But it's guarded by Sergeant, who is ready to give the smoke to anyone. Oh no, dude. All humans. Yep, saw that coming. Gonna need the big guns for this. Defeating Sergeant, we get the artillery schematic, and after building it, we complete the quest, earning the achievement, Old Guns. And this completes all of the Minutemen quests. Back to the main quest, we then head to the Glowing Sea to locate Virgil, a rogue Institute scientist that can help us find a way into the Institute. The Glowing Sea is ground zero for where the nuke detonated 200 years ago, and it is filled with tons of rad scorpions and death claws. Locating Virgil in a cave, who has actually become a super mutant from an experiment, he gives us information about how to get into the Institute, but we will need a Courser chip. Coursers are basically synths on steroids. Heading to the CIT ruins, we follow a signal to track down a Courser who, after killing, we take his chip. That was actually really easy. Oh, look, an achievement. At this point, we need the assistance of the Railroad, who we have not met. The Railroad is basically a group of activists that believe synths have feelings, and they help them escape from the Institute. To find them, we head to the Boston Commons and follow this red line, which also provides pieces of a code along a trail, as well as tons of enemies. On our way there, we're blown up by a super mutant suicider, giving us the achievement, Touchdown. The trail takes us to the Old North Church, and in the basement, we enter the word Railroad and open up a secret passage where we then meet Desdemona and the rest of the Railroad. They of course don't trust us, so we have to first complete a quest to prove ourselves by accompanying Deacon to retrieve our prototype. After retrieving the prototype, we join the railroad, earning the achievement Tradecraft. Now a member of the railroad, we are then tasked with escorting an escaped synth to safety. After completing this, we can finally use the railroad to decode the courser's chip and return to Virgil. With the chip now decoded, we head back to Virgil and give him the decoded information. In return, Virgil gives us a schematic or a signal interceptor device that we can use to get into the Institute. The schematic can be taken to the Minutemen, Brotherhood of Steel, or the railroad, but in order to complete all achievements in the game, we have to take it to the railroad. Bringing the schematic to Tinker Tom and the railroad, we then receive a gargantuan list of materials that we will need to complete the signal interceptors. Because I'm a whore for loot, I already had all the necessary materials. After building the signal interceptor, we receive another quest from the railroad to upload a message to their Institute contact named Patriot. Stepping into the signal interceptor, we are then teleported into the Institute and receive the achievement, the molecular level. And using a nearby terminal, upload the message to Patriot, who then responds with a meeting place within the Institute. Continuing through the Institute, we find the now 10-year-old Sean, who is frightened by our character and starts yelling for father. I would be scared too if someone claiming to be my mom dressed in a Halloween costume randomly showed up too. But in the most mind-blowing plot twist, as it turns out, this is just a synth replica of Sean. The senior citizen that walked in the room is actually Sean, and it has actually been 80 years since he was taken by the Institute. After a heartwarming reunion with Sean, we then agreed to join the Institute and work for our son as the new Kellogg. No better way for a kid to show their love to their parent than by hiring them to be their murderous mercenary. Sean's first job for us is to go around and meet the other leaders of the Institute, and after doing so, we unlock the achievement Institutionalized. Still being a double agent, we head to our meeting point with Patriot and begin hashing out a plan to free some synths from the Institute. After our scheming is complete, we get our first busy work assignment from Father to retrieve a rogue synth, and while uncovering some of the Institute's dirty laundry, we unlock the achievement for lockpicking 50 doors. Before continuing with the Institute's quest, we first return to the railroad to retrieve an Institute password from our pre-war lab, because apparently the Institute can create literal robots indistinguishable from a human, but still uses a 200-year-old password. They seriously need to invest in their IT security. After getting the password, we then return to the Institute quest of retrieving an escaped synth. The escaped synth has become a leader of a group of raiders, and we must now fight our way to him.
And his name is John C.
After fighting our way to him, we use a passphrase to disable him and return him to the Institute. As a reward, we receive our room in the Institute that, frankly, after finding it for the first time, I can never find it again because it isn't marked on the minimap. Father then tasks us with attacking Bunker Hill to retrieve some escaped synths, and we are given the option to notify the Brotherhood of Steel or the Railroad about the attack. Since we are going for all achievements in this playthrough, we notify the Railroad about the attack. Now at Bunker Hill, we link up with the Courser sent by the Institute and immediately kill him. Remember, we're still playing Double Agent, and even though we didn't tell the Brotherhood of Steel about the attack, they still show up. After killing the Courser, we then link up with Sean on top of a building and tell him the Railroad ambushed us. He doesn't believe it for a second, and after scolding his own mother, he returns to the Institute. The recordings for this next part decided to digitally unalive themselves, but we attend a meeting to discuss the Institute's power problem. Sean announces that he will die soon and names us as his successor. This gives us the achievement Mankind Redefined, and here's the achievement for the non-believers. Now before we can continue on to the endgame, we have to first head back to the Brotherhood of Steel and Railroad to complete some quests for them. Back at the Brotherhood of Steel, we spill the beans on the Institute and are tasked with passing along the information to Proctor Ingram and retrieving a scientist, Madison Lee. If you've played Fallout 3, then you'll remember her from the Brotherhood of Steel. She apparently left the Brotherhood of Steel and joined the Institute. Inside the Institute, we convince Madison to return by showing her proof that the Institute is covering up Virgil's disappearance. Retrieving Madison, we are then tasked with helping her rebuild another very familiar relic from Fallout 3, Liberty Prime. We must first build actuators that require an insane amount of materials and magnets from MRI machines. You know, the things that help us save lives, but now it's an accessory to mass murder. Once the actuators are complete, we then locate nukes so Liberty Prime can dish out all-American atomic freedom. With Liberty Prime, well, primed for war, Elder Maxon then informs us that Dance is actually a synth, and we are now tasked with eliminating him. We locate Dance at an outpost, and after discovering what he is, he wants us to kill him. Now listen, I'm a big softie, and there's no way I can bring myself to kill Dance. Man, well, synth is just too pure. Instead, after reloading the quick save I made before talking to Dance over a dozen times and simultaneously failing the charisma check because I have the charisma of a rock, I finally convinced him to live once I realized there was charisma boosting mentats in the same room.
I've already lost my family. I don't want to lose my friend.
You're right. I should consider. Perhaps now that you've opened my eyes, I can consider. Take my holotags. Use them to prove that your mission was a success.
He gives us his holotags as proof of his death, but as we are leaving, Maxon shows up to find he is still alive. Still high off the grape-flavored Mentats, we manage to convince Maxon to allow him to live.
You convinced me that I was wrong to be whatever you decide.
Touching. Either you execute Dance, or I...
Whether he's human or not, Dance saved the lives of countless Brotherhood soldiers. Now it's
You're a
time you
stubborn
saved
woman.
his.
Even though we disobeyed an order, we still earn a promotion to Paladin and earn the achievement, Blind Betrayal. Checking back in with the railroad, we are given an emergency assignment by Desdemona, and when we get to the safe house, we find that everyone has been killed by synths. In order to keep our cover as a double agent, we take out all the synths. While clearing out the safe house, we also unlock Scavenger for collecting 1,000 resources, and after clearing the safe house, we reach level 25, unlocking Unstoppable Wanderer. This finally brings us extremely close to the end game where we have to side with one faction. Starting with the Institute, we head into the mass fusion building to retrieve a reactor core. However, upon doing so, we immediately lose our favor with the Brotherhood of Steel and now must fight through waves of them before we can reach the reactor.
You want some of this?
Oh shit, Allie, you just got wrecked. Fighting our way through, we retrieve the core and return to the Institute. Upon returning, Father warns us about a situation with the Minutemen not being happy about the Institute attempting to bring someone back, and we must now de-escalate the situation. Being a general in the Minutemen, we talk the Minutemen down and head inside to handle the problem. Again, having the charisma of a rock, I failed the charisma check to convince the man to come out, so the Institute scientist gives him some strong encouragement.
See? I knew it! Okay, look, we're out of time. Institute, this is Dr. Thompson. I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a synth relayed to my coordinates offset by 5.3 to subdue our subject. I appreciate
Just teleported in there and knocked this man out. Returning to the Institute, we start up the reactor with the core obtained earlier and attend a meeting with the directors to decide where to allocate our resources and earn another achievement, Powering Up. Once again, we have to check back into the railroad and warn them about an impending Brotherhood of Steel invasion. I swear we're almost done with the constant switch-ups. Warning them gives us another achievement, Underground, Undercover, and we then have to fight off the invading Brotherhood of Steel. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh my god, I had such a good weapon, dude. I wasn't watching my health. Oh no, Ada. Oh, who do you think you are? Dang, she's throwing bows, dude. After defending, we then head to the Cambridge police station to steal a vertibird, and this was hard not only because of nearly everyone having power armor, and the randomizer giving me the worst possible weapons, but we also had to kill Scribe Halen, who we first met when we found Dance. Halen. I'm sorry. With the stolen vertibird, we board the Pridwin and blow it up. All right, we're getting somewhere. Oh, I punched the kid again. Oh, they're kids. We're gonna blow this thing up. There's kids on it. Are we sure we want to blow this up? Kind of crazy to think the Three Stooges were able to take out a literal military. Reporting our success to Desdemona rewards us with the only achievement we would not have gotten if we didn't carefully play Double Agent, Rocket's Red Glare. Finally done with all the railroad quests, we return to the Institute. Father then tasks us with eliminating the railroad. I've been waiting for this moment because honestly, the Institute is one of the most boring factions, and their mission is pretty silly too. Anyways, eliminating the railroad, we return to the Institute to find Father on his deathbed, and speaking with him, we share some kind words before he passes.
Hasn't I spent years wondering what you were like? Thinking about all we missed out. I want you to know that I'm grateful for the time we've had.
I'm glad I found you.
As am I. Thank you. Mother, you've helped a boy achieve his dreams. I think I'd like to sleep now.
Oh, he doing the long sleep. That's honestly sad. First your kid gets stolen, your husband gets his brains painted all over the inside of a cryopod, and then you find your son, he's 80 years old and dies. Like losing your kid twice. That's horrible. With his passing, we are now the new director of the Institute and officially complete one of the many possible endings, which earns both nuclear family and prepare for the future. Now complete with the Institute and siding with the only faction that has working toilets and water means our character can forever enjoy a clean put. Reloading the previous save before making the final choice on a faction, we head to the Brotherhood of Steel to complete their ending. Speaking with Lancer Captain Kells, we are once again tasked with eliminating the Railroad. The Railroad really are just a punching bag for the other factions at this point. Heading to the Railroad HQ, we then relive a very similar scene, but from the other side now. With the Railroad once again eliminated, we then fly in a vertibird to the mass fusion once again. This is again another point where the randomizer caused issues because the rooftop we are supposed to land at has synths, and we of course need to kill them before we can land. Thankfully, if you just wait long enough, the vertibird will eventually allow you to jump out. Now at mass fusion, we do the same task of retrieving the core, but this time fighting through the Institute's synths. With the core in hand, we then plug it into Liberty Prime.
Mission: the destruction of any and all Chinese communists. Probability of Chinese victory impossible.
And then have to follow behind him as he walks to the Institute. We close yet? Oh, he said, bitch. Damn. Who are we throwing nukes at? Oh, lordy. Now he's bugged. Once at the Institute, Liberty Prime digs a hole that will allow us to get into the Institute and completely wipe them out. After entering Liberty Prime's hole, we earn the achievement Ad Victoriam. While inside, we also have a very heartfelt moment with Father, before teleporting out of the Institute to watch the explosives we place completely destroy any sign of them. War never changes. Earning another achievement, Ad Victoriam. This officially ends all of the story-related achievements, and we can now move on to cleaning up the remaining achievements. I chose to continue progressing on the Institute ending so that having a clean cooch was a canon ending. First up is the achievement for collectibles. There are 3 achievements for collectible items in this game. 2 of them are for collecting bobbleheads. Some of these were already found while completing the main story quests, and the others required some exploring or completing the side quests. There's not much to talk about with collecting these, but the most notable of collecting these was the Charisma, Speech, and Sneak bobbleheads. The Charisma bobblehead could only be found by helping out the Cabot family, who has been alive for hundreds of years thanks to the blood of a family member that found an ancient artifact that became permanently fused to his head, but also made him crazy. This guy reminds me of a xenomorph, and I can never unsee it. The Speech bobblehead can be found in Vault 114 after one of the kids is bitten by an infected mole rat when he ventured into a secret part of the vault. As it turns out, the secret part of the vault is actually a sealed off part of the vault that was sealed off with 3 Vault Tech scientists inside to prevent them from carrying out their Vault Tech directive of experimenting on the vault inhabitants. We also gained a new companion, Curry, who was assisting the scientists in their research. The Sneak bobblehead was probably the most interesting and scariest of them all. Located at the Dunwich Borers, we fight through raiders to get to the depths of the mines where the bobblehead is located. The bobblehead itself isn't located that deep into the quarry. Because I'm a curious being, I ventured deeper, which leads to an absolute horror movie. As you venture deeper, you begin encountering hordes of ghouls and experience flashbacks that, when over, result in jump scares. Oh no, here goes the flashbacks. No, they ain't friendly. Once at the very end, we get a final flashback of what looks like a cult gathering. Oh my god, are they doing human sacrifice? And at the bottom of the water is some statue that they were excavating. I'm sure this is an Easter egg for something that I'm too young or uncultured to understand. After collecting 10 bobbleheads, we get the achievement, They Aren't Toys. And once we acquire all 20, we earn the achievement, They Are Action Figures. The final collectible related achievement is for reading 20 magazines, which you find as you play and explore. Magazines are like bobbleheads in that they will add buffs to some sort for your player. Now, I acquired way more than 20 of these magazines, but was unable to unlock the achievement, probably because I was using a randomizer mod, but even after disabling it and collecting 20, I was unable to get the achievement. And 1 for good luck. Yeah, it still counts it as 0 for the magazines found. But we will count it since technically the requirements are met. This also goes for the achievements related to killing 300 creatures and people. These two did not unlock either, even with the mod disabled, but after having more than met the requirements, we'll go ahead and add these to the count. On to the next achievement, which actually turned out to be quite the grind, is to complete 50 miscellaneous quests. Miscellaneous quests are basically tasks that are too short to be a quest, or they might lead to a full quest. These can only be obtained through random interactions with NPCs or overhearing conversations between NPCs. When I started this achievement, I had only really focused on the main quest, meaning I had a very long road to go. I'd be lying if I said I didn't consult a guide to find the locations for all of these miscellaneous quests. After well over 10 hours of grinding miscellaneous quests, I embarked on a field trip to kill a bloatfly and collect its organ, and finally earn the achievement.
Remember, bring the gland back in one piece. Oh, and don't chew on it. One of the students got horribly sick because of that mistake.
Yeah, I have this bloatfly gland. You asked for
Well, that's
it?
a little reward for my new junior scientist.
Finally. Mercenary. Next is to get a companion to the maximum relationship level. Not all of the companions you can get in Fallout have a relationship level, but for those that do, the way to reach maximum companion level with them is to complete actions that they like. I chose Preston as my companion to reach max level with, since I figured he would be the easiest to level up, as what he likes is for your character to simply recruit new settlements and help out existing settlements, and he hands you virtually an unlimited number of these tasks. However, the thing about companion level is that you actually cannot see your level with the companion, and after completing things that Preston liked for hours, I started to worry that maybe this achievement was bugged, or that I'd performed some action in the game that would prevent reaching max relationship with Preston. Since I was playing on PC, I whipped out some console commands to check Preston's Infinity, which is the name for the companion level. Checking it before and after completing some tasks for him, I found out that he wasn't bugged. The level was just simply climbing incredibly slow. After a few more hours of assisting settlements, we finally unlocked the final dialogue with Preston and earned the achievement, Lovable. And while out completing quests for Preston, we unlocked another achievement for recruiting 3 settlements. Next up is the achievement for killing 5 giant creatures. Giant creatures are either superhuman behemoths or Mirelurk queens. You already kill a Mirelurk queen and a superhuman behemoth in the main story, so that should only leave 3 giant creatures left to get the achievement. Hey, Preston, I need you to do more over there, bro. Hey, I'm getting shit on over here. Hold on, hold on. Step on that. Dude, that really fucked you up. I could throw shit too. Nice. All right, well, that's 3 at least. And I know I've killed a Mirelurk queen, so that's 4. I mean, I don't know why this isn't happening here. How am I missing some of these hits when I'm right up in his face? There it is. The harder they fall, finally. The last grindy achievement to get in the game was to reach level 50, which even after the main story and over a dozen hours of side questing, I was still nowhere near. So I set out on completing more side quests and killing virtually anything I could. After hours of questing till my eyes bled, I decided to head to the glowing sea, which is supposed to be the area with the toughest enemies that should net higher XP.
Are you sure about that?
However, turns out this area really doesn't have that many enemies, and I ended up consuming enough Radex to forever cure myself of radiation and didn't gain more than 1 or 2 levels. So again, it was back to questing till finally. Hey, level 50 Legend of the Waste, finally. Oh my god. Oh, that actually took forever. I'm so happy to be done with that. While working my way up to level 50, I unlocked the achievements Robco's Worst Nightmare for hacking 50 terminals, Ranger Corps for discovering 100 locations, and Gun for Hire for completing 10 side quests. Now all we have left is to complete some settlement related achievements, such as building a certain number of items and getting a settlement to 100% happiness. Settlements all have a happiness meter that is affected by a couple different things, such as whether there are enough beds for settlers to sleep in, if there's enough food and water, and if there's enough defenses. If all these conditions are met, over time the happiness level will raise. It's a very slow and painful process that you really can't speed up. I knew this would be a slow process, so I actually started working on this very early on while I was working on other achievements. I originally started by building up the castle settlement and doing things such as giving everyone beds, increasing food production, and even building the settlers an entire gym that actually has enough bench presses for everyone, unlike my overpriced commercial gym. While building up the castle, I unlocked the achievement Fixer Upper for building 100 workshop items. All that was left to do was wait. While I waited for the happiness level to raise, I then crafted 50 weapon mods for Armed and Dangerous, and made enough drugs for everyone in the Commonwealth for Wasteland DIY, and completed miscellaneous tasks in Sanctuary for the achievement Sanctuary. Back to the happiness level for our final achievement. Although this was started very early on, I could not get the happiness level to reach more than 93 before it would unexpectedly fall back into the 80s. For some unknown reason other than these settlers are not appreciative of the home I give them for free. Damn freeloaders. I attempted to get the happiness for days, but eventually gave up and went with a very cheesy method to get 100% happiness. The process involves having one settler at a settlement location, building some defenses, storing a ton of food in the workshop bench, building a bar for the settler to work at, and then sleeping and idling in the game for hours at the location. After doing this for hours while simultaneously defending the settlement from any attacks, which when one happened, the settler had the audacity to steal my power armor. The settlement eventually reached 100 and earned one of the rarest achievements in Fallout, Benevolent Leader. I was actually too busy doom scrolling Twitter out of boredom that I didn't even realize I unlocked the achievement. Bro, did I miss the achievement? Did I miss the achievement? Dude, I didn't even... Oh, I didn't even notice I got it, but thank God I'm done with this. That finally done, I had thought I was finally done with all of Fallout's base game achievements, but I'd missed one to reverse pickpocket someone with a grenade or mine. So it was off to Diamond City to reverse pickpocket one of the unfortunate inhabitants. Nuke mine. Well, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. And this is not working, is it? But as it turns out, you need a perk at level 2 to actually be able to do this, which I didn't have. So it was back to questing and killing everything till I'd gained 2 more levels, and with the new perk, I picked my victim and placed a nuke mine in their pocket. Ah, the nuke mine. Jesus! There it is! Prankster's return! Oh, finally done. That's it. I've counted the achievements this time. I'm not missing any. That's all of the base game achievements finally freaking completed. That took me so much longer than I thought it would. Fallout 4 also has several DLCs with over 30 more achievements that we will be returning to complete in the near future, and we'll also be completing the achievements for the very well received follow-up to Fallout 4, Fallout 76. So be sure you subscribe to see those in the future.